Hi everyone, this is Elena Kraus and welcome to another card making video. Today I'm featuring the June 2022 Hero Arts My Monthly Hero Kit. So let's get started. Here's the card that we're gonna make today. And let's first take a look at the kit. This is 6x8 stamp set and featuring this large beautiful mermaid, and it comes with coordinating dies. So I will not be using the main image, but I will use one of the supporting images. This is a card that I had for the countdown on my blog on Friday, and I used the jellyfish. This is the Lighthouse and Sailboat cover plate sample that I made with some of the add-ons. This is Jawsome Shark stamp set and coordinating dies that I use on this card. This is another add-on. This is yet another one. It's called Mermaid Wishes. There are a few more that I don't have right at my desk, so I'm not showing those, but I will list them below in my video. So we're gonna use the fish and we're gonna make a rainbow fish, and also we're gonna do some watercolor smooshing. I'll be coloring using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. And before we moved, we moved to making the card. I'm just cutting out the fish die so I have it handy when it comes time to die cut. So let's get started. I'm working on a glass mat, so it's very important to work on porous surface. I already have this glass mat as my work surface, so that's what I'm using. I used two colors of light blue markers. I just scribbled onto my glass mat, sprayed with my spray bottle, and smooshed that watercolor paper in it. I just want it to be a little bit more blue or larger area, so I repeated the process again. But this time, not only I sprayed a marker on the glass, I also sprayed the paper before I smooshed it in that puddle of color. So while that dries, even though I dried it with my heat tool, I just set it aside to stand there. So now what I'm doing, I'm using again watercolor paper and I'm stamping the fish. I'm using the Hero Arts Intens-ified black ink, and I'm stamping the fish 3 times so I have nice coverage. So because I stamped 3 times and it's watercolor paper, the ink is still wet, so I'm adding some ultra fine clear embossing powder and heat setting it. Okay, I'll put that aside, and now we can die cut that. I'm using my new Hero Arts compact cutter. I'm positioning the die, so I'm doing this before I move on to coloring, because it has happened in the past. After I color, the image moves a little bit, the die, and it doesn't cut perfectly to my liking. I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to that, so I just decided to die cut it before I move on to coloring. So I just had a piece of tape. You can also use repositionable adhesive. I added that to the leftover piece of watercolor paper, and I'm using again my Zig markers to color this fish in rainbow order of colors. So started on the bottom with pink, moving to orange and yellow and green and goodness, and I'm also blending the colors as I go towards the top of the fish as I'm adding darker colors. So I'm just going between colors and blending so I don't have very sharp lines in those where the colors transition from one to another. And then in the end, because the top was pretty dark, I decided to go with the blender pen and lift up some of that color and blend it, kind of lighten it up and blend it a little bit more. So here I'm going with darker blue. I think this was the peacock blue. It's pretty dark. So I'm just adding a little bit and then blending with the previous lighter color. Now I'm going with purple. That's pretty dark. And I'm going again with dark pink or magenta color. So now I'm going with that blender pen and lifting some of that color and kind of shaping those lines to go along the arc of that fish on the top. You can see here I'm scribbling to the side. That's me removing color. So when over the line over there, I'm trying to remove that with the blender pen. The blender pen is water based, so it acts like a little paintbrush. So I was not able to completely remove that with the blender pen, so I used my white gel pen to mask it off. I'm also adding little white dots along the head and the fins and the tail of the fish to add a little bit more texture and detail. So I think I like how that fish looks like, how it turned out. So here what I'm doing, I'm die cutting 3 more fish die cuts to use to stack that up for dimension. You can either do that or just use foam tape or craft foam. But I like using stack of die cuts, so it gives me a little bit more sturdiness and it's even. So when it goes through the mill, it doesn't get squished or smushed. So I'm just adhering all those layers together. And then I'm adding another layer of glue and I'll add the colored image there. I'm pressing it on top to make sure it's nice and flat. So since I used a larger piece of than A2 watercolor paper, I'm trimming it down to 4 by 5.25. So now we can stamp sentiment. Since I did rainbow fish, I decided that the sentiment here, one of a kind, was perfect for this fish. So I'm positioning that on my watercolor panel. I'm using anti-static powder tool here, and I'll stamp again with the Hero Arts Intens-ified black ink a few times. You can see here I'm going again with that anti-static powder tool because I forgot that I already did that, but better safe than sorry. So I'm adding that ultra fine clear embossing powder and I will heat set it. Okay, now we just have left to add the fish, add some clear enamel dots, add it to Dove White top folding card. And here I'm again stacking this 3 pieces of cardstock to add dimension to the panel, or again you can use foam tape or craft foam for that purpose. I have 3 stacks of heavyweight white cardstock, scrap cardstock. Just pressing it out to make sure that it's nice and flat. I'm just adding that to my top folding note card. Okay, let's add the fish and clear enamel dots and we'll be done in just a second. So I like to add those diagonally, and in triangles. So I have 3 on the top right and 3 on the bottom left. So here's a little close-up of the card we just made. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click that bell button to be notified for every new video I upload here. Thank you so much for watching and stopping by. See you soon. Bye.